All right, another year, back at the Butte 50. It's pretty early. The race starts at 7, and my goal this year is just to finish again. As usual, not really built for this type of a ride. The goal is to be under 10 hours, which is not very fast. But the last time I did this course, because it's back on the South Loop, took me a little bit longer than that. So yeah, ready for a full day of suffering. I'm going to be using my State 4130 trail, which I have swapped all sorts of parts over to make it more efficient for this ride. Up front, I am running a Wren fork. It's actually a 110. This normally comes with a 130, but the Wren runs a little bit higher, so it's more like a 120. It did steepen it up a little, but I'm okay with that. Out back, I'm running the Dior 11 speed with an 11 to 51 tooth. And then I've got the stock crank and chainring on here, which is a 32 tooth. Tire wise, I left the Trail Boss on. This tire works okay as a front tire. I don't love these tires. It had it front and rear, but I've swapped it out for a Maxxis Icon in a 2.35, which interestingly enough measures out a little wider than the 2.4. I've got this little Revelate Designs top tube bag with some things in there, and that's where I will carry my food between aid stations. Right here, I've got the Tanaka cages that are side loading, and I've got this 30 ounce right here, and then I'm gonna have a 21 ounce right there. I'm gonna be running the Koros Dura. That way I don't have to worry about battery life, and I'll have the route loaded on there so I can see what's coming up. This route has a lot of mixed terrain. You get some sandy double track, some dirt roads, and then some pavement. And then towards the end, you get into a lot of single track that is rocky and still fairly fast in between there, but you get a lot of rock gardens and stuff. Starting to spread out a little more. My front brake is rubbing like crazy. Probably gonna have to stop and fix that. I have no idea how that happened. It looks like it's super bent somehow. This is the new section of the double track. Much nicer, not as steep as the other one. My heart rate always spikes like crazy, and it's really high at the beginning of these. I don't know if it's nerves or what, but that front rotor, I fixed it. It was like slightly bent, but obviously it's not completely out of the way, or it bent again. It's from the braking. Super annoying. It's gonna be in my head all day. First bit of single track. Whew. This climb is always where I really feel like I'm in it. So I'm feeling it, that's for sure. Nice little false summit. This next section is actually my least favorite of this climb. I don't know why, but kills me every time. Mostly the top. That did not feel great. Again, my heart rate's at 165 right now. I don't know why this happens every time. I'm trying to just relax and say, I've got like 9 more hours. I'll be good. Got to get to the ski boggin descent, which is fun, but short. Hey. This is a really fast descent, but it has some tricky little spots in it where there's little switchbacks you gotta watch out for. I guess more than anything, it's all of the little like drainage cuts and random rocks, and then random little turns that are like super quick and not really much to them, like this one. I know in the past I have missed that and gone straight through. Thanks. Little rolling trail section once you cross that road to get up to first aid station, which is at Sagebrush Flats. Thanks. That should help a ton on the rotor, or at least help my mental state. I feel like I'm starting to settle in, which is good. Only took 2 hours. Fighting some bad mental thoughts of, oh, I shouldn't do this. I should abandon. It's not a good sign to have those early, but just got to keep pushing. Made it to the top of the chimney climb. The first 25 guy already passed. He was flying. So he went that way. 25 goes that way. 1500 go this way. I think I touched my rotor when I fixed it, so now it's squeaky. This is a pretty fun, fast double track descent. It's a little rough and loose. Yeah, it's loose. Whew. Guess that's what happens when you have so many people ride through. I'm also so used to plus tires. I still keep having this thought of, should have ridden the Jones or maybe the Speed Bomb. I think in the long run, I'm gonna appreciate having these faster rolling tires and less weight on the wheels, or rotating weight, I guess. Getting aero because I'm so fast. I'm just like the front of the race. After a couple miles, coming up to aid station 2. This is the bottom of the Basin Creek climb, the part that I would say is the crux for most people. The Basin Creek climb is really a few different sections of climbing. This first one is wicked steep. I pre-rode this, which is nice, but doesn't make it any easier. First climb basically done. It's evened out a lot up at the top and not nearly as steep. I'm so excited for the descent. I just need to cool off. I'm like so sweaty. Woof. Okay, I'm pretty much on pace. I kind of say if I can do about 1,000 feet of climbing per hour of riding, and I know I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I'm at 3:15 total time and 3,300 feet of climbing. So pretty much right on that pace, which is good but bad because fatigue's gonna set in more. You good? Yeah. Here's the start of the next one. 2.8 miles, averages 7% grade, 1181 feet of climbing. This has been a grind. Just got over the steepest section, but about a mile to go, 440 feet. That is pretty much the top of the Basin Creek climb. Holy Toledo. Definitely still more climbing to go. We still got 7 miles to the aid station. It's not as long and sustained. A lot more rolling hills. The water stop was actually just a big orange jug. It was pretty low. Tried to leave a little for just a couple people behind. I'm sure they'll refill it before the 100 comes back through, but kind of a bummer. I was hoping there'd be more. Whew. Fatigue is setting in. Oh, tired. This is officially the most climbing I've done this year. A little more than half of what I'll have to do today. Man, that climb just took it out of me. I am feeling pretty terrible. Gonna need some rest at the aid station. I'm avoiding these thoughts of abandoning, but I might. I am feeling it. Here's the deal. At this point, all but the shallowest hills, or you could call them flat or downhill, I'm having to walk. That has happened to me on the 50, but typically it's a lot later in.
So I'm just gonna get to the aid station, sit for a bit, make a decision. I don't know what it is, but these miles right here just go on forever. I think you just always feel like you're close, but you're not. I think this is the last climb. No, don't say that. It's probably not. That's the last little bit. Now, I got the aid station right here. I'm just gonna sit. Really want to drink. Super thirsty. I'm feeling a little bit better. So, I'm just gonna go for it. Probably do a lot of walking, but I can at least make it to the next aid station. And then at that point, I can probably convince myself to go to even the next one. First 100 rider came through when I was sitting there. That is just insane. The speed. The switchback climb is ridiculous. Oh, come on. Whew. It's not even the bottom or the top of this climb. Here we go into the rockier stuff. This section's all way more technical and rocky. Fortunately, it doesn't really give you a break after the climbs. They're not as long as that last part, but they're more technical. They're steeper. Status update, I'm dying. I remember 3 years ago, I laid right there on the ground because I was dead. And that's about how I feel right now. So I'm coming up on 8 hours total time. 6.5 moving, so you can tell I've been taking a lot of breaks, kind of dying, and kind of just trying to survive at this point. So I got to be careful because I get a really good downhill before the next aid station, but that's where I'm going to call it because I've still got, I don't know, another 2 climbs. One's little, one's decent. I think it's like a little less than a mile and 300 something feet of climbing. But after that, yeah, I'm toast. I've only had 3 100 guys pass me, which is actually pretty good. Probably means the course is a lot harder because I feel like usually when I do this, at this point I start to see them a lot more because I'm so slow on the 50. But the double loop has a lot more climbing. This is the highest elevation point of the race. But holy cow. I'm losing my voice, which is just a little more confirmation I should probably stop. Man, it's a big bummer. I was really excited to finish it. I just didn't ride enough. Probably should have cut back on the desserts, if you know what I mean. That's honestly 95% of my problem. Even though I ride a decent amount. Although, rarely do I get a ride over 2 hours. I think I had 2 or 3 of them this year, which is nothing. But, alright. Descent down to Lime Kiln Road. Hopefully, the water there is not gone. Finally, in one of the biggest full-on descents. There's always little climbs in the middle, just for a second. But it's one of my favorite descents. I'm a little sloppy though, because I'm so tired. Alright, here's the aid station. I am checking out.
Okay, it's been about a day now, and let's talk about what just happened. I'm now 2 for 4 with the Butte 50, which is not a great score. For a lot of people, it's not a big deal, but it is difficult. I think that the main reasons this didn't happen for me this year, why I wasn't able to finish it out, was just lack of preparation, and I think a lot of it has to do with body weight composition, that type of thing. It's funny, afterwards, a couple hours later, I was telling my wife, I probably could have finished, but it would have just been me pushing my bike for a couple hours and riding down the downhills. And to me, I don't know if that I would really counted that as as a win. It was just kind of miserable at that point and defeated the whole purpose. So I think for next year, my big thing is I've got to drop some weight and I've got to get more ride time in. Realistically, I think I had just a few rides that were over a couple hours, which just isn't enough to complete this type of a race. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed the state setup. I do think that the course, especially once you get past that third aid station, a full suspension bike is kind of where it's at, especially based on the fatigue you have, or maybe plus tires. So at that point, I kind of wished I had been on my Speed Bomb or the Jones LWB, just something with a little more cushion. So yeah, otherwise though, this is a great bike. Really enjoyed it on the trail. My bottle setup was pretty dialed, honestly, especially with the help of those other water stations. I never fully ran out. Really liked the tailwind. That did great. And I didn't have too much nausea. I had one moment of it, but I brought some Pepto-Bismol tablets and that helped. All comes down to lack of preparation. It's all on me. So all I can hope for is a better result next year, as in I'm going to actually finish. By the way, if I had kind of pushed it and gone past that aid station, even with walking, I probably would have finished in about 11 hours, which is not great. And it was an hour past my goal. It still would have been faster than the other time I finished this course. So I've got a lot to improve on. But anyway, that's my Butte 50 recap for this year. Hope you enjoyed that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.